What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the next installment of the Filsinger Games Character Spotlight with Mike and Brock.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Brock. And tonight we will be talking about two classic Champions of the Galaxy characters from the starter set in Pulsar and Genghis Khan. I dropped the Genghis Khan card. Here we go. There he is. A good-looking man. And we'll also be discussing the topic of record keeping, something I wish I was better at as a kid.
I'm a little pedantic when it came to my record keeping, so I was always good at that.
There you go. So what's new and exciting?
Not a whole lot. It's a balmy -30 here today.
Nice, nice.
Or that'd be -22 in Fahrenheit.
Ooh, it was 19 degrees here today. Fahrenheit, so
that's a little not too bad, I guess.
Nah, not horrible. I didn't have a coat because I left it somewhere and I couldn't find it. So
yeah, -30, you go outside and your lungs hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's low. We usually don't get that here until February,
and then January we usually get about 2 or 3 days where it'll reach -40. But because of global warming, we're getting less and less of those. We only had 1 day last year where it was -40. Normally we have 5 or 6 of them.
That's good.
Actually, we only had 1.
Wow. Yeah, our winter was pretty mild last year too, but the year before was pretty rotten here in Western Pennsylvania.
And I did get a message from one of our viewers asking me about my wall behind me. Those guitars are ones my daughter played over the years. I'm not even sure the makes. What they are, there's 2 acoustics and electric, and the Black Star is because my wife is a David Bowie fan, and that was his last album.
Cool.
But the wall I made, I used to be a manager at a rare wood place called A&M Woods, and there's 19 different species of tree.
Oh, cool.
Purple heart, canary wood, bird's eye maple, walnut, cherry, chestnut, zebra, wenge. There's a lot of different ones up there. That's why some of the wood is purple and
that's cool.
Different colors. And
so it's all natural. It's not stained.
Yeah, none of it's stained.
That's really cool.
When you see it that color, that's the color it is. Some are multiple colors, and
that's cool.
There's
thank you for that question, like whoever asked, because
it was a neat question. I answered them.
Cool. I'm still waiting for somebody to question my kid art. Where is it? Which hand? This hand. My kid art here.
Yeah.
I guess no one cares.
The cotton ball snowman, that's a classic.
The cotton ball snowman. I got footprint ornaments. Yep. Kid art. It's not mine. It's done by somebody much more talented than I.
Okay. So let's get this underway. What do you want to pick first, Genghis or Pulsar?
Let's go Genghis.
Okay, we'll switch it up to Genghis. I'll pull up my Genghis Khan card.
I'll go ahead and go to the wiki here, the Filsinger Games wiki, so we can pull up some more information on him.
Yeah, he had his career was kind of he was one of those low level guys. He looked badass on his card.
He is one of the tougher looking guys for sure.
Like if you went by looking at card art, you think, yeah, that guy's definitely a badass. And then his stats are like, no, actually he's not.
There he is. If anybody's wondering what he would look like in brilliant color here.
Yep.
It's got decent card stats. Decent for the early set. His level 3 defense is rotten, but the rest of it isn't horrible.
He had a 5 pin, didn't he?
Yeah, 8-5 pin, 3 downs in addition to the pin. So, and 2 hurts. on his level 3 defense.
Yeah, and only a +1 finisher, if I'm correct.
The twin thrust.
Yeah.
He's another product of time travel in the game.
Yep. Don't know if he was the actual Genghis Khan, but that's what
I'm going to say it is. But he only had one card throughout the entire Champions of the Galaxy lore.
Yeah, he did. For me, he captured my Galaxian title, which was my low tier title.
Okay.
He captured that twice. And then he captured my CPC tag title, which is the CPC Milky Way title, which is the low tier tag title. He captured that with Mitsuko later on, his tag partner. Captured that twice. And the CPC 6-man tag, he captured that once, and I cannot remember who the third person was. But I got rid of that because I just wasn't a 6-man tag fan. I found the matches took a little too long at times. So I think I ditched that title within the year.
Yeah, I never got into the 6-man stuff. I don't really like playing tag matches all that well because I don't play them right. Because I always end up, my ADD takes over and I get bored and I just try and finish and just have 2 guys in there slugging it out and just forget about their tag partners a lot of the time. I've talked about this before on the show, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to schedule more tag matches just to get better at it.
I actually enjoy doing tag matches. Like as we were talking, there's a lot of strategy and numbers involved. Certain guys, come in on certain levels. And I noticed when you were playing the match between Cosmic Forces and Tarak and Renegade. I'm like, okay, this guy's got to come in now. And you're like, no, I'm just leaving this guy in. No.
You're about 15 seconds behind, though, whenever I'm doing that live.
Yeah.
so I'd already rolled 3 times before I got your cues.
And he, but for me in my promotion, him and Invincible Kraken won the first ever, I used to call it the Solarcade Cup.
Okay.
And him and Kraken won. I think they beat the Gladiators in the final.
Wow, that's kind of an upset.
It was a huge upset. And that was the only time Genghis Khan made the final of any pay-per-view.
I can't think of anything that he did for me. I don't really remember using him all that much either. Because I remember, just for history, if people are just now tuning in, I started late and I jumped in a month later and got caught up with all the card sets. I started playing really fast, which I regret. And he was just one of those guys that got lost in the shuffle of all of that.
Yeah, like he started off feuding Pit Viper. He lost to him. Then he started in with Billy Joe, lost for a couple of years. Lightning. He drew against Lightning. I was like, ooh. A bit of a shock. And then Whiplash, he got beat up. He won his first feud 7 years into his career against the Creeper.
The Creeper. So then, how long did he hang around in storyline?
Well, for me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Looks like
for me it was 13 years.
Okay.
Or no, 12 years. 12 years.
Yeah, he was. How long? He was active in official timeline from 2086 to 2094. So he wasn't around very long.
Yeah, I kept him around. He won 4 feuds, one against Vladhammer, one against Creeper, and 2 times against Taurine. So him and Mitsuko were in the CPC fighting the Penthouse Punks.
Okay.
And
that seems like a natural feud.
Yeah, it wasn't bad because they were both low level and they dominated. But then Tom threw I know in the game Tom threw a red herring at people because everybody thought that Demons of Hydra were Genghis Khan and Mitsuko.
They ended up being new characters.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That was something he threw out at people, and people were like, oh, it's Genghis Khan and Mitsuko. because Genghis Khan and Mitsuko disappeared, and those guys show up.
That was cool. Throw everybody off with that.
Oh, and it did. Now I don't know how. In the book, I could check it out, because, like I said, I always made my see, I use the GWF files. I wish we'd get a new one.
Yeah.
I had Genghis Khan at 6'3", 290.
All right, let me
In
see
the
what
book,
his.
he's 6'1", 277.
Yeah, that's what he's listed here too.
So I was pretty close.
Yeah, he's a bigger dude.
Just because he looked big and beefy and strong in that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, he's one of those guys that he fit well in with the set when it started off. But you could tell he slowly started to get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. He was kind of like the foreign threat, which was a big deal in the 80s.
Yeah.
So that was his role.
And but Kraken had his had this Society of Death, which I thought was a cool idea. So it was just a mix of people. He had mutants, and Genghis Khan and himself.
Yeah.
And then later on they picked up Splatter, but none of them were very tough. So it was like Kraken wanted to make sure he was the toughest guy by far, and he just filled out his bottom tiers with low-level job guys.
Yeah. Splatter was probably the best one on that team. I'm looking at the roster throughout the years.
Well, the first Splatter wasn't his re-up.
That's true. And Death's Head was on there.
Remember really? Oh
yeah.
I currently use Death Head, but he was never part of the Society of Death. He was always he came in with Cannibal's group.
That's cool. He's a really interesting looking character.
Death Head?
Yeah, was he the first Brimstonian?
Yeah.
Thought so.
As far as I know, I could be corrected by somebody like Pete Fusco, who knows the ins and out of the game, but
yep. He'll if he listens, I want him to correct all our mistakes. We're gonna have a rebuttal video every week where he puts us in our place.
No, guys, you're doing it wrong.
That's funny.
Your stories are all wrong. Your timelines are wrong. Yes, I'm going off memory from when I was, 18 years old, 20 years old was the last time I used some of these guys.
Yep. Yeah, I think Death's Head was the first. That's one of the places that's kind of protected. You don't see a lot of Brimstonians.
No.
And you really shouldn't, I guess.
But trying to stay on for Genghis, so he didn't do much for you?
No, he really didn't.
You just kind of skipped over him?
Yeah, because I was, like I said, I was playing way too fast and I regret it, which makes me even more every week want to go back and start over again and do it right.
I noticed what's that guy's name? Jeff Manning.
Who's that?
He's kind of doing that.
He's going way back though.
Yeah.
He's like in 2070 something.
No, he's in 2098 now.
Okay, but he started back that far.
I just saw a post of his today.
Cool.
So he restarted and he's moving up. He's posting his stuff on the boards.
That's cool. Good old Jeff Manning, whoever that is.
But Khan, I thought got lost. I thought the introduction of Mitsuko helped him out a lot because it kind of gave them some personality.
And a buddy.
And it was a good low-level tag team.
Yeah, that could win if they, you get to pull off that occasional upset.
And if not, they were good against. If you fought low-level tag team against low-level tag team, you could have a decent match.
Yeah.
But you put Genghis Khan and Mitsuko versus the Ultimate Gladiators. It's a squash job, and 100 times you're probably going to end up 100 times Ultimate Gladiators.
Yeah. Yeah.
unless they get DQ'd. That's the only way they're winning.
Or Snake Eyes.
So, what would you do for Genghis Khan to toughen him up? What's your one choice?
If I were only given one, I think I'd take away a down 3 on level 3 defense. Give him a hurt 2 instead. But then he has no comebacks on level 1. He's got the 1 on level 2. It's a 2 though. Yeah, I'm getting rid of a down 3.
Because his defense, he's got 2 down. He can put you down twice on level 2, right?
Yes.
His comebacks, I think he's only got 1 comeback on level 2.
Yeah, and it's a 2.
Yeah.
And he has 1 dazed and then 4 hurts with 2 tags.
Yeah. So, but for a tag guy, that's not too bad though.
Mm-hmm. He also has 2 tags on level 3 defense.
Yeah. So I might drop his 5 pin to a 3.
Okay. Let him kick
Just
out once or twice.
Yeah, make it so he can kick out. That +1 finisher's lethal.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody hits him with a +1. I got less than a 50-50 chance to kick out.
Yep. You saw what I'm surprised at how many high pin ratings there were in the first set. Looking back through these with you, it's kind of crazy. You don't see these anymore.
No, but like we said, it was a generalized power creep has slowly come in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you get a 3, it's like that guy's a chump.
Yeah. 7-4. Might as well just not even play the match.
It's all over.
Mm-hmm.
But we can.
Yeah, I wish I would have done more with Genghis Khan. I like, the concept is cool. The time travel aspects and all that, and being an Earthling, and he later joins the All Earth squad, which I thought was neat.
I don't think I used the All Earth squad. I think I just kept him as a heel the entire time.
Okay. But here he is, folks. Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
All right. And if you thought an 8.5 pin rating was bad, here's Pulsar.
With his 6'9".
Yep.
Yeah, Pulsar. He was the that young up and coming rookie that you're supposed to get behind.
Mm-hmm. We liked him in our household because we always thought he looked like a Von Erich.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
And we're big Von Erich fans.
When I first saw him, he was like he was my quick draw Rick McGraw.
Okay.
He was that jobber that would give everybody the tough go.
Okay. Yeah. Let me pull up his card history here while we talk about him.
Except, Pulsar didn't die from causes like Rick McGraw did.
Yeah. All right, we'll bring up his first card here.
But that's, like I said, I always based my wrestlers on real wrestlers so I could picture it in my mind and how they would go and react.
Mm-hmm.
Pulsar was, for me, quick draw Rick McGraw.
There he is. He had a pretty long career.
Yeah.
He had a couple updates.
And he gets an update, I think, in his 4th year. He becomes Pulsar Prime.
And he gets really good pretty quick. I think that was because that was the first year anybody got upgraded, right?
Yep.
Well, I think it was like half the set was upgrades, half was new stuff. I think he had the biggest upgrade of anybody.
Yeah, he and Tarak captured as I explained before, captured my Intergalaxian tag titles by a fluke. They beat the Blood Brothers. I looked it up. They then went on to win 5 matches or not win, sorry, defend the title in 5 matches, and all matches were count out. 4 were count out losses.
Hey, it counts.
And then they lost finally to Massive and Earthquake.
Wow. So the big boys had to beat them.
Yeah. And that was their end.
Yeah, I was always a Titans fan. So Pulsar got a lot of use. Don't remember him winning any titles or anything. But yeah, we definitely use the Titans a lot at our house.
Yes, Pulsar Prime. I'll get into it later on what he did if we, when we get to Pulsar Prime. But he captured a lot of titles, and he's still wrestling for me. He's on his second update, so his 3rd card.
The eye patch one.
Yep. I'm just trying to remember my alphabet because I have him coming in at 6'1", 230.
Let's see what the wiki says. 5'11", 243 pounds.
Nah, too stocky for that.
Yeah, he's thick.
I like mine better.
Especially since he's supposed to be a high flyer.
Yeah. I don't know who made some of these stats, heights and weights and stuff.
Mm-hmm. You got to remember when they came out, too. 5'11", 243 was a small guy then. 243.
Yeah, his first 2 years he was feuding the Mutant, and Mutant beat the living hell out of him. And then when he swapped over to became Pulsar Prime, that was a big upgrade.
He tagged with Star Warrior then.
Oh,
I
really?
forgot about that. Yeah, in his debut year in 2090, he teamed with Star Warrior. They were the Starfighters.
Huh.
According to the wiki, at least.
See, I got the idea from Paul Barnes, and I made Massive and Pulsar Prime a tag team, and we called them the Power and the Glory, right out from Paul Roma and Hercules. And they had some ridiculous record like 27-2.
Wow.
And they won the tag titles. And I said they'll break up when they lose them, and I think they held on to it for like 10 cards or something like that.
That's not bad.
And then Massive wanted to go back to his singles because Massive was nearing 100 wins, and he said he was going to retire at his 100th victory.
Okay,
like 100th. So not just 100 wins, but 100 pin wins.
Okay,
and not too many people had gotten to that point. Only 4 other wrestlers, had gotten 100 wins. I think Massive was the second one to get 100 pin wins. Because Thantos and Wolf were getting a lot of wins by submission.
Yeah, okay. The Master Walk will get you every time.
Yeah. But as Pulsar, as a member of the Titans, yeah, he didn't do a whole lot. It wasn't until he finally got his upgrade, though. As Pulsar, he just didn't have it. He got Mutant and Creeper were his first few feuds, and he just got beat up constantly by those guys.
And he was supposed to. He was the upstart. Yep. Makes total sense.
That's why I put him in those feuds. He was supposed to be the young, good-looking guy against the evil monster.
Yeah. And that's one thing too that you have to give to the original 24 is everybody had a role to play.
Yeah.
I don't know if you see that as much anymore, but definitely in that first set, everybody you could buy just the original 24 and play for years and not get stale.
No,
because there's so many unique characters,
and they all fit in on all different levels.
Couple turns here and there. You have another storyline that you can use the same archetypes with, and just keep it rolling.
And like I said, I rank my wrestlers back then 1 through 4. And you had guys on every level. That's what made it.
Yeah.
I think my 4-point wrestlers back then were Thantos, Star Warrior, and Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had a ton of 3 levels.
Yeah.
A couple 2-level guys, like I think Genghis Khan was a level 2.
Okay.
But as time went on, he dropped to a level 1 because he stayed the same and everybody else moved up.
Yeah. He was not a participant in the power creep.
No. But that's one thing too. Not everybody has to get an update.
No. If it makes sense, yeah, or if it's a gimmick change or a heel turn or something like that, it makes sense. But otherwise,
but I think Genghis Khan not getting an update fit him.
Yeah. He's just a brawling type, tough guy.
Yeah, and he was, he was background.
Mm-hmm.
He was just there. He was your filler piece. Well, Pulsar, you knew, even reading the book, even before we even thought of upgrades.
Yeah.
You knew he was supposed to be somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is
feeling.
cool. For sure, which is so awesome that those seeds were planted without even knowing that there would be a future edition.
No, that's one thing I don't know if even Tom realized if he should start
Yeah.
doing upgrades. Because I'm trying to remember if we talked about it in the early conventions.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember when I was on the roll up when they did the they brought in a bunch of the year 1 guys who showed up.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all on talking, and Tom asked us, "Should we introduce women in the GWF?" And every person said no. Except Jack. Jack's like, "I wasn't there. I would have said yes."
He would have.
Oh yeah.
He wasn't blowing smoke.
But that's one thing I wonder. Just talking to people, because I never thought of advancing wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until I saw what Tom did that I'm like, oh, we can make these guys tougher. Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, it makes sense too. And that's how I always try to explain, like, people who are new to the game who don't get what it is. It takes place in real time. Like, you play these cards for a year, and then the next year the new set of cards comes out. Sometimes guys get weaker, sometimes guys get stronger. You get a whole bunch of new guys to introduce. It's really a living game.
Yep.
Which is what's so awesome about it. Which I don't think a lot of people who just play it like at tournaments and stuff like that really understand. And I think they're missing a lot of what makes it so cool.
Yep.
That's why I have a hard time getting into Legends. Because the Legends cards are like a snapshot of an entire guy's career, whereas like the Champions of the Galaxy line is the progression of a career and then the decline of a career.
Yeah,
for a lot of guys, which I think is awesome.
So that is it. The game becomes a living, breathing organism.
It does. It really, really does. It takes on a life of its own and then as characters upgrade, and and then it's so hard to see some of your favorite characters get that downgrade.
Yeah.
But it's inevitably going to happen. It doesn't happen as much anymore. Guys just seem to like fade away now instead.
Yeah, it's that old question, whether to burn out or fade away.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like now the characters just kind of retire instead of reaching that point where they start to decline. Which, if you look at wrestling today, that's kind of how it goes now too.
Yeah, well, they just lose their contracts and then they end up working for smaller and smaller promotions.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly, or they'll just disappear, and then they're an agent. What?
Yeah, they just got rid of all them at WWE.
Yeah. What would you do about now? Because Pulsar is getting an upgrade, but how would you improve this guy?
It's got to be that pin rating.
Yep. Even drop it to a 4.
Yeah, I was saying 7.
You can't drop it to a 3, but even a 4.
Yeah, 7-4, I think is what I would do there. Because everything else makes sense with him being a rookie and all that. And his offense isn't terrible.
No.
especially by the first set standards.
What was his power or agility? Was he like a
minus 2 agility, +4 power. So he's
Yeah,
pretty weak as far as that goes. And then his charts were A ropes, C turnbuckle, C ring, and B death jump.
Well, I knew it was a C ring because he ate a lot of concrete in those early years.
Which, if you think about it, a rookie would.
That's why Mutant dominated their feud.
Yeah, it goes outside the ring. It's done. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
2 out of the rings, 10, 11, and 12. Power driver on the concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Automatic count out.
Goodbye.
So with that, we can hit our topics.
Yes.
On the record keeping.
Mm-hmm. When I first started playing, I kept all my records in a 3-ring notebook, which is now lost to time. I'm still convinced it's in this house somewhere, but as far as finding it, it's probably going to be a lost cause. And if I do find it, I don't know what kind of condition it's going to be in.
Yeah, let's see.
But I have a Google Doc that I just type my results in and put any notes and all that stuff as I go. So that way it'll at least be on, instead of on a computer, it's stored in the cloud. So it'll survive hard drive crashes, computer changes, and all that stuff.
That's what I'm thinking of doing, is once a year. I'll still keep them on the paper, but once a year, just update the everybody's records.
Yeah.
And then I can, who's got the most career wins? Who's got?
Yeah. I want to go back and do that with all my streaming results.
Okay.
Just so I could start playing up stats a little bit on the stream.
Yeah, like, see, when I started playing with Rob just kept, and we just kept track of win, losses, and DQ losses.
Okay.
So DQ losses didn't count as a loss.
Makes sense.
And so
did you count countouts as a loss too, or?
Yeah, countouts were a loss.
Okay.
And so when we're keeping track of won loss records, and we'd update the rankings every 10 cards. We'd go through and every 10 cards, Rob would just eliminate the records. So it wasn't constant.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started my promotion, I'm like, no. I want to know these things. So if I hold up, you can't see it really, but there's literally numbers. I have like 8 different categories. I keep track of draws, and then victories get divided into 4 categories: countout wins, DQ wins, pin wins, and submission wins. Then losses are countouts, DQs, DDQs, pins, and submissions.
Mm-hmm.
And they're every time somebody wins or loses, that's how I mark it down. And in the final, I don't count DQs and DDQs in your final total, because they're not really losses in my book.
Mm-hmm.
But you still do get lost, but
it's like a walk in baseball.
Yeah, but it's interesting, how I can look and I'm like, oh, I look down and I see somebody like, where is it? Mutant. He's got 21 countout victories. Now I'm betting 15 of those came against Pulsar.
Yeah. Pile driver on the floor.
But it's interesting, like, I'm just in the CPC one. Killer Queen, for a guy who's a submission expert, also submitted 14 times. So that guy has 0 tolerance to pain.
He likes to dish it out, but he can't take it.
But I remember in the convention we were at in just outside of Pittsburgh, where they filmed Deliverance there.
Yeah.
I was talking to Lori Beck, and she's sitting beside me, and she's like, "You know what's funny?" I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Did you know Pete actually keeps 1-loss records for all his wrestlers. She's like, can you believe that? I'm like, hey, Lori, hold on a second. I'm like, everybody, can you stop playing? And everybody stops and like, who here keeps 1-loss records for all their wrestlers? And every person puts up their hands. I'm like, see, Pete's not the only one. We all do that.
Yes. It's part of the game.
Yeah, she was completely shocked. She's like, wow.
Quit messing with him.
leave Pete alone. He's doing nothing wrong. He's
playing it right. We're not all nerds.
Some of us are more in depth
Mm-hmm.
on our record keeping, but everybody I know keeps track.
Yeah, I got out of control at one point with record keeping, where I was putting into effect like if you won with your finisher or not was a stat. And then my Fed became so stat based that it just became boring, because I was giving ranking points based on how you won and when you won and what you used to win. And then it all just became stat based, and the story got pushed aside for that. And that's when I kind of dialed it back.
See, I wish I would have added that for a stat.
Oh no.
If you won by your finisher. Now some guys it's easy, you can kind of guess, like Thantos.
Yeah.
52 wins by submission.
That's the master lock.
Wonder how that happened.
You're right. Yeah, I got crazy with the stats and the points for different things. I was given points for getting out of someone's finisher, like for if you escaped a finisher or kicked out from it, it got out of hand. It became all about stats and numbers instead of, the fun of the story.
Yeah, I even do stats for feuds. Like, this is the start here. I have a women's fed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, this is the feud here. So, the top, it's Supernova is going to fight Amazonia. It's their own little groups.
Mm-hmm.
And so what'll happen is when they fight, whoever gets a win will go beside their name,
Mm-hmm.
a win or loss. And how I decide my feuds is the more times you fight, all the specialty matches have a number beside them.
Okay.
So if you want to get to a cage match, you got to fight 4 times.
I like that.
You just don't jump into a cage match.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And so if you want to get into a torture chamber match, you gotta face each other 7 times, because the torture chamber is my end all.
Yeah, that's cool. That I never thought to do that. That's really cool.
And so you build them up. Now, the opening match could be a no DQ, not a Titan death. I just do no DQ or countouts.
Mm-hmm.
Titan death would involve rolling on on the charts now.
Right.
Or I have somebody made a taped fist match. So that's where all your punches are moved up.
Yeah.
That's a level 1 match. So after they fight the first time, they can start having specialty matches.
Yeah, hopefully by the time this episode drops, the latest ringside companion is released.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'll order that. Todd was bugging me because I've never ordered anything online in my life. And so the ringside companion, I'm gonna make that my first online purchase.
I guess they delayed it because they wanted to add more content to it. So that's a good reason to delay.
Yeah, that's why it was delayed.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm looking forward to that because I fumble around with 3 or 4 of them now when I play for the different things. Yeah,
I have a stack like everybody does of things. One thing I hope that is in it is the tag team chart. Where you get all the tag teams. There was for double teaming. I hope that's in there because I really like that chart.
What happened to that chart? They just kind of quit printing it.
Yeah, mine went missing at a Galacticon. I'm not saying somebody borrowed it, but somebody might have borrowed it.
Mm-hmm.
And it went missing, and it still bugs me because I use that all the time.
Yeah.
I love that chart.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully they redo that.
I'm hoping that's in there. If not, I want to try to get it so I can just, photocopy it myself and put it back into play.
Yeah, I didn't use that one too much, but like I said, I never did tag teams all that well.
Yeah, I love doing tag teams, but like I said, how I do my stats is my feds us, and record keeping. It's a stat based. There are different ways people use different things to keep records. Just straight up one loss records. I use keeping records, everything from feuds to every tag team everybody's been in. So if I added up all the tag team that say Massive was in, Massive had 3 tag partners in my career, in his career. He had Commander Sam, he had Pulsar Prime, and he had Earthquake. So if I kept track of all his singles, yeah, he probably did quite a bit. Same as Massacre. Massacre's probably won more tag matches than anybody. Because he was, part of the Gladiators and Ultimate Gladiators, and with me, he was Spike and Massacre were a tag team.
Nice.
Yeah, and they were the Aether Raiders, and they were a nasty combo.
That's cool. I need to look, because I just started a new year on stream. I'm 2 weeks in, so I think it's time where I can maybe, before I get too deep into it, start keeping some different stats on that kind of stuff that you don't normally think about keeping record of. Do you keep so say Massive, you have him wrestling as a singles guy and in a tag team with Pulsar. Does his tag win-loss record count with his singles win-loss record?
No.
Or do you keep them separate? That's what I do too.
I keep them separate.
Yeah. I do that too.
And then at the end of the year, when I do my year-end points to see who moves up and down, because it would be unfair if I took somebody like, say Prodigy and Skinhead. The Prodigy and Skinhead, for me, might wrestle 3 singles matches in a year.
Yeah.
So yeah, people are like, oh, they automatically move down. But what I do is I take their points that they have in tag team. So they might have 40 points in tag team, and I divide that in half.
Okay.
And give it to them in singles as well.
Okay.
So they'd have 20 and 20. So yeah, they wouldn't move down because it's not their fault. They're dominating a tag team.
Yeah, they're tag team.
So that's how I do it, just so they don't move down. Because tag team, they're in the top, but in singles they'd be dropped, so they drop down in the promotion because the 2 bottom guys drop. But I'm like, no, so I cut those points in half.
Okay.
That they earned, so they don't drop.
Makes sense.
So I think it does work out well. I enjoy keeping the stats. I know, I've talked to people on how many stats I keep, and people are like, how do you find the time? I'm like, it takes me after I wrestle, my cards, probably about half an hour to 40 minutes.
For all the bookkeeping.
Yeah, for all the book, but it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Well, that's what you enjoy the game.
Yep.
That's what that's your Fed is very stat driven. You have 3 different divisions basically within your Fed, so it makes sense that you have to keep those good stats for it to flow correctly.
Yeah. Like when it comes to just the bookkeeping part, I've always, in real life, I'm not this neat. But like, I'm not that organized, but in my game is organized.
Yeah.
All my nerdy stuff is organized. My real life, I'm a mess, but my gaming stuff is top notch.
That sounds a little familiar.
Which that's what's bugged me is I cleaned up one time and I put all my wrestling cards that I don't use. And I don't know where I put them.
Oh no.
Because I was cleaning up and I'm like, oh, where did I put them? That's why I haven't been able to find anything. And I'm like,
Well, hopefully they turn up.
Oh yeah, they're in the house.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of trying to remember where I put them. Because that's one thing. You know, with stats, everybody does it differently. I've seen people keep stats for. I guess there's the raw ratings. People will keep stats using that.
Yeah.
There's a push rating I've heard people use,
Mm-hmm.
where guys get, you know, they like a guy and give him a push somehow.
Yeah.
Through some kind of rating system.
So get some kind of bonus.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And, you know, I don't do that. I just use a point system. So if you're a 3-point guy and you beat a 4-point guy, you got 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you know, I think it was Terminus. So what I wanted to do with Terminus when I first introduced him to give him a big winning streak is he only wrestled the weakest guys in the promotion.
Yeah.
So he was slowly moving up the rankings. But he was just beating
like Goldberg did.
Yeah, the low tier guys week after week after week after week.
Mm-hmm. Those low tier guys are so important for story development.
Oh, it was. You know, it worked out well. This guy's getting a huge win streak, and you know he's rubbing it in everybody's faces. That you know he's nearing it on Mad Jester's undefeated streak of like 16. I think that was the longest I had anybody, and he was nearing like 12.
Wow.
13, and you know, but all his guys were the same couple of guys over and over again.
It fits the character too.
Oh yeah, it was perfect. You know, he just beating up these low tier guys. You know, I had him come with his AWF belt.
Mm-hmm. The real world champion.
And you know, and he'd always defend that belt versus these low tier guys. And then when he finally, I can't remember who he finally fought. I think it was Archon. And Archon beat him. He's got him down, you know, triple finisher.
Yeah. That's great.
He's done quite well because, you know, he picked on the low guys. It was a different method. I just wanted to, you know, honestly, I wanted to see if it would work.
Yeah.
And he was the perfect guy to fit that bill.
Mm-hmm.
What would happen if I gave a guy, you know, 10 matches against low tier guys? Would it get enough, you know, enough rankings? Yeah, that got enough where he got a TV title shot and he won the TV title, and it was all through just it was an experiment on my part to see if my ranking system would work that way, and it did.
Good for Terminus too.
Yeah.
What color did you always imagine Terminus being?
He's almost like a gray color for me, I think.
I had him as blue, and I envisioned him as blue. I don't know what. Let me see what he looks like on the wiki. I'll pull him up here since we've been talking about him a lot. We'll see. We'll let people see what he actually looks like here. Oh, wait till you see this. Here he is, folks. Terminus.
Oh, he's gray, yeah.
Yeah. Marbleized.
Yeah, that's kind of how I pictured him, like a stone.
That's cool. It's either that or leprosy, one or the other.
He's got a lot of boils.
Yeah. I love the smirk.
Yeah.
That's Terminus.
But yeah, that's kind of how I pictured him. That's one thing that I don't know who picks these colors.
Mm-hmm.
Who decides what color people are.
Yeah.
But it's always interesting when it comes to the aliens.
Mm-hmm. You never know what you're gonna get.
No. Everybody's got their own views. Like for me, Chaos was, you know, absolutely white skinned, like alabaster.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the guys from Alien, the builders or whatever they're called.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how I picture Chaos.
I think we'd see a lot of odd skin colors since most of these guys are aliens.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're all normal Earthling colors for the most part.
Yeah, everybody's skin colored.
Yeah, every humanoid guy.
Like, for all we know, the gladiators could have had green skin.
Yeah, yeah. Which would have been kind of cool. A little different.
Yeah, but, you know, who says everybody's got to have pale skin, pink Caucasian? Everybody's Caucasian.
Yeah, we've talked about this before.
Yeah. No matter what planet you're from, you're Caucasian unless you're a Titan.
Yep. So true.
And then you're black, and then you can only be black also if you're from Montreal.
Yes, but you end up becoming a Titan.
Yes.
It's comical.
Oh yeah, it is. But next week we're gonna
Yes.
have we're gonna end the set one.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna end it with, of course, Star Warrior and Thanos.
Yes.
Who we end it on. We're gonna have an
Main
extended
eventers.
episode.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we have 2 special guests coming in. They're gonna work on it so we can get them in.
Yes.
We don't want to
Stories
give
from
their
the
names
road.
away in case they can't make it.
Yes.
They both said they should be able to make it.
Cool. Good stuff.
And we got a few shout outs to do.
Mm-hmm. We've got the official Filsinger Games podcast, Roll Up, the Legends team on the Uncharted Territory podcast.
Found on Anchor.
On Anchor. And I saw another one somebody posted on the Facebook group this week that apparently has been doing it for a while, and I just have missed it somehow. Lee does the Dizzy Dice podcast, also on Anchor.
I had seen that. I was going to give it a listen.
Mm-hmm. So check that out. Grant on GWF Promoter on YouTube and Twitch. He live streams and also posts videos. I'm on Twitch at BrocsterBuilds, and Sergeant Fragamal is on Twitch. He just started his stream a couple weeks ago. He's usually on Saturday nights, sometimes Sundays. I'll have to put links to all this stuff in the description so you can easily find it.
Yeah, I'll have to look up Grant.
Yeah. He usually covers the news and plays a few matches at the end.
Yeah, I've seen his YouTube. I haven't seen his Twitch.
I think it's the same. I think it's a simulcast. I think it's the same.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. Because I feel like I'm the only one on Twitch when I'm talking to him, and I feel like I throw him off because he's talking to everybody on YouTube. And there's just me coming in from Twitch, doing everything wrong and just, being me.
It's like you're on and I'm sitting here texting you while you're on Twitch. What do you? No, you're doing that wrong.
Yep. That's what happens.
Don't you know how to play?
I don't. You think after all these years I'd figure it out, but I haven't.
But we do have up to week 31 planned out.
Yeah. And this is what, 12 or 13?
This is week 12.
Wow.
So we've done it now for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Impressive for both of us.
Yeah, it is. I usually give up on something about 10 weeks in, or it's actually 3 weeks in. But
yeah, it's like I said, I enjoy it because it makes me stay in the game, because I've actually taken breaks that are like a year long.
Yeah, I've done that too.
And now, well, between COVID and I'm just sitting home a lot, I'm like, well, what am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
So either play video games or wrestle.
That's why I've started streaming it, just so I don't have a huge audience, but I have people every week that expect me to be on playing. So
yep.
It keeps me active as well, which is nice.
Yeah, I throw on some wrestling. I got a TV just over, there, so it's kind of background, and I've been going through, NWA in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It's on YouTube. Earlier this week, I did somebody made a best of Bruiser Brody, so I was watching some of his matches.
Nice.
And because I watch matches, when I dissect matches, I realized a lot of these guys back then didn't bump worth a crap. They'd take a bump and then they would literally like just kind of crumble and fall. I'm like, there's no back bumps here. I could fall like this forever. I'm like, that's probably why they did it.
Yeah. Get some longevity out of it.
Yeah. Who knows how hard those rings back then.
Can you imagine?
Like I wrestled on some pretty stiff rings and some pretty bad, especially when I was, in the US.
Hmm.
Some of those rings were horrible.
Hmm.
Like there was one promotion in Tennessee I might have worked for, and their ropes were steel cables in garden hoses.
Oh my.
And the first time I went into it, I thought I'm just going to test it.
Hmm.
And I went in the ropes and I thought I broke a rib. I'm
Wow.
like, oh, that hurt. And I'm like, okay, no one's throwing. This is a finishing maneuver.
Yeah, +3.
You throw into those ropes, the match is over. It was the first match where I never hit the ropes after that. It was turnbuckle, or we stayed in the middle of the ring.
Wow.
The guy I'm wrestling did the same thing. He was like, no, that's it. There's no. It was, and we were talking to promoter afterwards, like, what's with your ropes? And he's like, well, we have a lot of high flyers, so they spring off them. Oh, so obviously they don't hit them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh wow.
They're there for the high flyers. I'm like, well, no. Oh my God, give somebody a heads up next time.
Yeah. That's great.
So it was kind of funny that way. But yeah, that's one thing I've with this game, and I've started to check out more people's feeds. Like I'm not on the Filsinger boards a lot, and I
Yeah.
keep meaning to.
Hmm.
But I'm just not on my computer a lot.
Yeah.
It's always.
I do like the addition of the Facebook group. That's relatively new, and I think it's been helpful.
It has. The Filsinger official game page. I wish when now Chad and the Uncharted guys started posting their stuff on there, so when it comes up,
Hmm.
and other people have started to use it now to
Yeah.
to also, like, we now drop our YouTube channel stuff there,
Hmm.
and I notice when we drop it there, you get more viewers
Hmm.
because a lot of people go into that and read it.
Yeah. There's a lot of active users on there, which is nice.
So, and that, like I said, and that's how a lot of them will get a hold of me. If they got questions or something, they just send me a message. And some of these people I don't know,
Yeah.
and they'll send me friend requests. And I don't mean to be rude if I don't accept your friend request. It's just I'm picky, and until I get to know you better,
Yeah.
it can take me a year or so until I get to know you, because I'm very picky. I may have 300 friends, but 80% of them are people I've known. Well, probably 90% of them are people
Yeah.
I've known for years and years and years before I accept them.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I've gotten more selective, especially now that I have kids.
Yeah.
I don't want to open my world up to everybody.
No. And like I said, I've gotten some from some people, and you want to accept them because you see their names in the group, but
Yeah.
on the other hand, I want to get to know them first. Like, ask me questions, or we'll respond back and forth for a bit. I don't mind talking to you through chats. I have no problem, but as soon as you open up somebody, you're kind of letting them in on social media.
Right. I agree.
So if you do send us friend requests and we don't accept right away, we're not being
Don't
jerks.
take offense.
We're just cautious.
I am a jerk, but don't hold that against me. but no, that's just how it is.
Yep.
Nothing personal at all.
No. But okay.
And on that note, we can wrap this one up. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please click that subscribe button. Give us a like if you enjoyed this, and watch for the next episode that drop Mondays at noon. Catch you later.
Bye, everyone.